What's your take on what's happening in crypto markets at the moment, given all of the buzz and activity we've seen around crypto specific to the war on Ukraine?
Emily, great to be back on the show, and thanks so much for having me on to discuss Gemini's global report and all things crypto. You're right, there has been so much buzz about crypto over the past year, and we were really excited to dig into the actual data to uncover trends in adoption, barriers to entry, and general attitudes towards crypto. And our survey, which looked at 30,000 respondents across 20 countries, we found four key findings. So first, increased adoption globally. 2021 really was a breakout year. We saw crypto ownership nearly double in several key geographies, including the US. That means basically about half of the people bought their first crypto in 2021. Second, and interestingly, we saw that in addition to increased ownership, it was a real broadening of the base of crypto investors, with more women and more diverse investors coming into the space. Third, we saw that respondents were really tuned to inflation, and the responses demonstrated that inflation is a significant driver of demand in the space. And right. Finally, consumers worldwide, they continue to seek out more education and regulatory clarity concerning digital assets.
We're looking at India, Hong Kong, Brazil. Looks like they had some big uptick. Where are you seeing the most adoption right now?
Well, we're seeing the most interest in developing countries where there's historic currency instability. And so where we see that, our theory is that, look, where your currency is stable, crypto may be a nice to have. It helps diversify your portfolio. But where we see currencies that have been devalued against the dollar, we've found that people are 5 times more likely to buy crypto. And there, the theory is that crypto there is not a nice to have, but a need to have.
Bitcoin has been trading between $34,000 and $44,000 for most of 2022, a fairly narrow range. Do you think that's going to change?
I talked to my traders about that. We do think that we're poised for continued growth and price increase this year, and a number of things are driving it. Certainly, inflation, which we've seen that worldwide, where there's inflation, it's a driver of demand, and obviously we've got inflationary pressures here in the U.S. And also, the war in Ukraine has demonstrated some interest in ensuring that countries are taking a look at their currencies and making sure that they aren't as dependent on world events. And we've seen crypto as a mechanism of easing friction for cross-border payments. And so we'll see if that increases price movement here this year.
What headwinds are you bracing for? Is it regulation?
Regulation and education continue to be the headwind. So despite the fact that the crypto markets continue to have a tremendous inflow of investments, and we saw more than $10.5 billion in investment in the space in the fourth quarter of 2021 alone, we still have regulatory uncertainty and a lack of clarity. And look, this is not just in the US, it's worldwide. We have the sense that governments, regulators know that they've got to do something. Often they don't know what to do, so they'll make statements that aren't always helpful to industry. You'll see things like a plan for a plan, or we're going to study it. And as you know, what the markets want is certainty. Tell us what they are. We are more than happy to work with our regulators, and we do. And so we can get some clarity and can move forward.